I'm just wondering though, I've been listening to you for a while and your passion is definitely very obvious. And it's definitely very obvious too that you're not that old. You're about our age group. So I'm wondering, what exactly has informed your passion for politics? And do you see that also amongst people your age when you're talking about politics? Are people that passionate about it, or do you think that there is a lackadaisical attitude among young people?
Well, there's something about our young people. We're too relaxed. One, because we've had a time where some of us grew, we were raised by parents who set us up, sent us to school, and allowed us to be our own, be your own woman and be your own man. But these days you're having families prep up their children from kindergarten, even university, they're still spoon-feeding you. How do you expect that person to take charge of his or her life? So that's a problem we're dealing with right now. But personally, I've been, I have a role model. I worked with the late Professor Dora Akunyili, and watching her, she mentored me, and if you are in this country and you see things going wrong, and because you are comfortable, you don't do anything, sometime it's going to catch up with you. But what really informed me coming out openly to say, this got to stop, is because in January, a staff of mine, Segi, walked up to me and said, "Ma, I need 2 months off from work, don't pay me." This is a young girl that earns about 120,000 a month. He says, "Don't pay me." I said, "Why? Where are you going?" She said, "I want to go and volunteer in Ambode's campaign office." And I said to myself, if this young girl, who I pay to work for me, can drop her salary for 2 months to go and volunteer her service to a governorship candidate in her state, then I need to get involved in what's going on in my state, because no matter what, I would have to go back to that state. If I don't go back there alive, I will go back there when I'm dead.
What about which party do you belong to now?
I do not belong to any party. I do not play party politics. What has happened is that my state hasn't had the best of leadership for so many years.
When you speak like this, your state, especially the ruling party in your state, haven't you been tagged as someone who is a card-carrying member of maybe the opposition?
Well, that would be their perception. But I would rather expect them, well, I don't. They should see me as someone who's had enough. Because if I'm going to align with any party, it should be PDP. Frankly speaking, in that state, the government of my state, I know very well. Not like I can pick up the phone and speak to my governor.
So why do you say this is the first time you're having elections? They've been having elections several...
No, we haven't been having elections. I mean, true election where you will count votes. No, I've had election where my aunt told me, in Abia State, the last election, my aunt told me, this is a professor. She sat down, put somebody on the queue to stand in for her while she goes to vote. And on getting to the polling unit, some uniformed man, because I don't want to call them military, I don't want to call them police. I just believe it's someone in uniform, because there are certain ways you expect these people to work. There are code of conduct and all of that. And I don't see a military personnel stopping someone who arrived a voting point from voting. Do you understand? So I would rather call them a uniformed man. That this certain uniformed man blocked the door and told her to go back, a professor. And then she steps aside. She's asked them why. That she needs to cast her vote, and that this is 1 p.m. Election closes at 4 officially then. And the man said, no, you can't come in. You can't vote. And while she was standing out there, another person in the hall looked up and saw her and said, "Hey, sister, don't worry, I voted for you. You can go." So I can't know all this and believe we've truly had an election in that state. So this is the first time we are having a strong opposition. We're having a candidate that is not just strong, he's credible, he's competent, we have his track record, and the people are yearning for something to happen in this state.
That's an endorsement. So I think it becomes very difficult for me to see that you're not...
No, I know all the candidates, yeah? there's one Chikwe Udensi who had, you see, I don't join the bandwagon, but I'm old enough to know what is right and what is wrong. I don't know this, but I'm basing my own decision on people's track records. That's it for me. What have you done before? A lot of them, they're all good in their own areas of endeavor. But now in my state, there's a need. We need to fix the state. And who is best to fix that state? I would rather go for an economist who has had track record than go for other people who I don't know. I can't beat my chest to say.
How long have you noticed this, this gap in your state? And did you try speaking with them? You're a communicator or strategist that has been working in that field. Have you approached your state when you noticed this gap or this seeming crack in development in your state?
You know, you can't change things by yourself, just complaining. If it's to talk, I have spoken to the appropriate quarters. When I lost my father 3 years ago, going to my state, the roads were in such, I'm from Arochukwu, the road was such in a deplorable state that they hurt, because I had to go do mortuary and all of that. Even seeing the mortuary, I could carry my dead and leave, and rather go and do embalmment in my home than let my father stay in that hospital. That was how bad and deplorable things are. But what I did was to say, I sent a message to people in the government to say, maybe you people need to look into these things. I do my part. Even some roads that they said they've done in Aba, look at the state of Aba. I don't know what happened, because I don't believe my governor or any human being for that matter will just have a job and decide not to work. I don't know what his challenges are. I don't know what, but he's done his best. He's tried to do things within his own limits. He has tried. He has done. There are some projects he's done. You also want to ask what is the quality of those projects he's done. He's done his part.
Tell us about...
But you want to continue to sustain and do even better, but we need more.
Concerning the electorate, are they more aware or more enthusiastic about these elections than before? And are they talking about issues and who and why they should vote for people based on issues now?
Yes, to a reasonable extent, I think that is going on now from my observation. But then, they say politics have no morals. Sometimes people say things and you really don't know what is in their mind. But in terms of people getting involved, more than ever, it's never happened like this before, where people are really coming out. There's a young man I know who, actually, he had 2 cars, his car and his wife's car. He went and branded it with a candidate's picture on his own. He doesn't belong to the party. You see? So that is the kind of things, it wasn't happening before.
What about security?
Security is a major issue in my state. And my governor has won an award as the best governor in terms of security. But when I go to my state, I feel insecure. There's a siege in my state.
Is the police?
There's military presence everywhere. And we are not having the issues of Boko Haram and all that. Every checkpoint you see military tanks. In fact, my governor is currently moving around a military tank. I witnessed this.
How can that be?
I said, I saw my governor in military tank. Armored car, not military, armored car.
I don't want to dwell too much on this. I'd like to dwell more on, the overall, awareness and, awareness. I was asking you a question about youth, young people, and, whether or not they're involved in this process. How many more young people are you seeing? Have you spoken to your friends? How enthusiastic are they about these elections in their different states? What are you seeing, even in your state? Are you seeing more young people like yourself interested in politics, interested in what is happening around them? And if they're not, what is the reason that they're giving you?
The young people are interested, and they are enthusiastic, and they are also playing their part. I saw a lot of young people, even on the side of the opposition, on the side of every other party. People are working. The funniest thing is that all these candidates have their good sides. It's not just one candidate, but what we need is just someone who will work for the state. Whether it's the ABGA candidate that will work for the state, let him come in. If it's the PDP candidate who will work for the state, let him come in.
So have you moved home now permanently?
No, I'm not planning to move home. I'm just not happy with the way things are running in my state. I don't have any plan of even going to live in Abia right now because my work is here, you know. But things are just not. Don't get me wrong. My governor, the incumbent governor, my governor is doing his best. But you know what? When you work, I don't know if there are other challenges. There may be. I don't know what the issue is with Aba, particularly. But if you go to Umahia, you will see projects that the governor has deployed. You could see the few roads he has built. You could see hospital, diagnostic center that my governor has put in place. He's doing his own bit. But I really can't tell what has happened to a city. And if you get Aba right, I'm talking as a citizen of Abia, someone from Abia State. If we fix Aba can feed the entire state. That's my problem. It's about the economic reality and what this particular city in the state means to the state.
All right, that's all we have to let it go today. Thank you for coming on. Mary Ikoku is the publisher, Working Moms Africa magazine, and the former head communication at Shopee. We'll be back after the break. Join us again.